1984, A Journey into a Totalitarian World. Hello. Today, we will dive deep into a dystopian masterpiece, 1984 by George Orwell. 1984 is one of the most influential and terrifying works of the 20th century, and over time, it has become a universal warning about totalitarian regimes and individual freedom. So, why 1984? George Orwell wrote this novel to show how modern society could become a repressive, monitored, and manipulated place. But this is not just a story. Orwell was inspired by the effects of Nazism and Stalinism, which were totalitarian regimes of the 1940s. The novel is a questioning of freedom of thought, individual rights, and society's corrupt structure. In 1984, the story is told from the perspective of the main character Winston Smith. Winston lives in a massive superpower called Oceania, where everything, everyone, and every thought is under the control of the government. But this totalitarian government has one peculiar feature: everything is not just under the government's control, but the figure of Big Brother is constantly watching. Big Brother's eye is everywhere, watching people at all times, suppressing any form of resistance. One of the most striking features of the book is Orwell's use of language. In the novel, Orwell introduces a language called newspeak, which is designed to alter and limit the vocabulary and structure of language in order to prevent people from expressing themselves freely. Orwell shows how language can control thoughts. The concept of thought crime means that not only are people monitored for what they say, but also for what they think. The impact of 1984 is felt not only in the period it was written but also in modern times. The book serves as a universal warning about the restriction of people's freedoms, the erasure of their desires, and the absolute power of the state. Who is Big Brother? Is he a leader or just a figure? Throughout the book, the identity of Big Brother is constantly questioned. Big Brother symbolizes the total power of the state. But at the same time, his true identity remains uncertain. Does he really exist? Or is he just an illusion? This ambiguity is one of the most compelling aspects of the novel. What about Winston Smith? Let's take a closer look at him. Winston is a party worker, initially appearing as a loyal citizen of the government. But over time, he becomes increasingly disillusioned with the government's oppressive regime and seeks to uncover the truth. However, this quest for truth puts his life in danger. The oppressive surveillance of Oceania ultimately destroys Winston's search for freedom. The book shows how people's inner struggles for freedom cannot overcome the monumental obstacles in a totalitarian society. 1984 is not just a book, it is a social analysis and a warning about the future. Orwell explores how governments can manipulate individual freedoms and how societies can be completely subdued. In 1984, we read about the collapse of a society where the government controls everything, and the tragic journey of a man fighting for freedom. But be careful, this is not just a fictional story, it is a possible future. So, where do we stand today? In the modern technological age, how far are we from the world Orwell described? Social media, surveillance technologies, and the collection of personal data. These topics increasingly resemble the world of 1984. In the age of technology, there are serious debates about privacy, freedom, and control. Orwell's 1984 serves as a warning against these emerging threats. The book describes a world where individuals are controlled not only by the government but also by society itself. People's freedom is not just restricted physically but also mentally. This makes 1984 a relevant book even today. When we think about Orwell's world in the context of our own, we realize that he was not only speaking to the past but also to the future. The depth of 1984 remains an important reference point for freedom of thought and individual rights. Orwell's 1984 is still a powerful reminder of how totalitarian societies can manipulate people's thoughts and how fragile individual freedom can be in the face of oppressive regimes. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.